the first story tonight, which is the pub chain Wetherspoons. So why are they in the news? Well, they've lost a very lot of money. How much have they lost? £60 million or something. 160 million pounds they've lost. And why do we care? Well, we don't. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, I'd like to see all these big chains go bankrupt because I think they have an unfair advantage over small businesses. I mean, why can't people, instead of going to Wetherspoons, go and have lunch or dinner or have a drink at your local pubs owned by individuals? Why does everyone have to go to chains? And it's because they've always got an unfair advantage of opening the high streets, pushing other people out, unfair practices. Now, I can't prove any of this, and I'm not even looking to prove any of this. But one thing I will say, I mean, it's been COVID. A lot of people struggled to not lose money and to keep the businesses afloat. So how does a big firm like like Wetherspoons lose money? Well, I went online. Unfortunately, I spilt a bottle of water on my thing here, but I looked at some of their abbreviated accounts. They're a PLC, so the accounts are like 98 pages long. But I just printed out a summary, and there's a few things that I wanted to bring to people's attentions when you're looking at accounts. First of all, they're saying they lost a lot of money in the year ending July 2020, but we didn't go into lockdown until March 2020. So when in March did we go into lockdown? Was it middle of March? End of March. So we've got April, May, June, July. So that's 4 months for them to lose that amount of money. It's not a full year's trading, and that's another thing that confused me, because when we look at the sort of normal activities, they're not actually losing money. The money seems to be lost on other things other than their core activities, which is fine, nothing wrong with that. But I think they're using COVID as an excuse for a bad year. But when you look at something else as well, when I looked at the accounts, because accounts show lots of things, that they seem to have spent an awful lot of money on refurbishments, which is good luck to them. But they've done refurbishments at a time when staff have been paid by furlough. Had the staff not been on furlough and we hadn't had COVID, they'd have had to have these refurbishments done anyway, and they'd have had to to stop staff coming to work and still pay them, as well as not being open. So sometimes figures are fudged and they're not always to be trusted, which goes back to where a clearer audit trail of things. Because if I wanted to invest in Wetherspoons, I might be more put off by the fact that there's other things going on that isn't showing the true figures. Obviously, if you're investing in a firm, you want to see that they're making profits. But as I say, I haven't got any particular gripe with Wetherspoons or anyone else, and I don't think they're doing anything wrong. It's just a little sleight of hand sometimes that I don't like. It's great that they pull up with cheap, discounted beer, but at the end of the day, you're losing it because you're getting inferior food and inferior everything and no real entertainment. Whereas your local pubs, you've got your homemade cooking, and you've got your the guys from the community, and you've got whatever it is that used to be good about pubs. You like your pubs, Graham?
I used to. Since I became a dad, I stay away from it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do. And it is part of the community. And
yeah,
like someone was saying before when they came in, it's nice having somewhere you're going to know the names of people.
Well, that's it, isn't it? I'm not a drinker and I'm not a big socialiser, but in the days when I was younger, when I used to go into local wine bars and wherever I used to go, the more posh places, they knew who I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they made they sort of made allowances for that when
they all
when
know
I was
who
in
you
there.
are for the wrong
Yeah, but I think that's so important with small businesses. Who are your customers? I know when people come to me, sometimes you don't always recognise everyone, but you talk around it and you think, oh yeah, that's who you are, But in the main, we whichever accountant's dealing with who, we know everybody's names, and not because we're trained to remember them. We just know people, and I just don't like that faceless thing of over the phone, like you're just a number. And I think it's so important. And then if they did go bump, then that means that there'll be lots of people out there no longer working for Wetherspoons that will now come back to the smaller firms that need them more and appreciate them more.
It's a weird one, isn't it? 'Cause
Yeah.
I know after Brexit and all that nonsense and the way they treat the staff and stuff, a lot of people were like, yeah, Wetherspoons are going down. And,
Yeah.
I don't think they are at all. I think
No, they're not going to go down.
It's clever.
They've been going for nearly 40 years.
Yeah.
They're the king of the pound a pint. Do you remember? I don't even drink, and I know that. You know, Charlie, you've been pulled off the floor a few times, haven't you, coming out from pubs? Didn't you mention before that you would much rather go to your local, that's, you know, the owners, rather than go to a faceless corporate?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same with restaurants, and you sort of. I mean, anyway, we're not here to talk about Wetherspoons. It's just I was in the Trafford Centre a few months ago, and I went there for a bite to eat. Didn't like it. I didn't like their attitude. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. If you want to carry on watching, we've got loads of videos all around us. But if you have more real-world issues and you something you'd like to talk about, do feel free to contact me. Just go to my website, stephenenglander.co.uk, fill in the form, tell me what it is roughly you want to talk about, and I'll be in touch. Thank you.